Oh my goodness, Love Squad. Okay, I have been meaning to do this for almost a month now. Sometimes blogging and scheduling just don't go as we'd like, but here goes. Okay. So, The Craft is a movie I find myself watching maybe once a year. So, I was super excited to hear about the new version. I'm a witch, definitely. And Halloween happened to fall on a personal care day for me, which was perfect. I lit my candles, finished the 5 by 55 meditation, and sat down to watch both crab movies like I was so here for it. This was my version of lit, okay? So I'll just go over my notes from my POV on that day, which was on Halloween. So I'm already noticing stuff that a more conscious person would notice, right? And I'm doing this from an empath perspective, you guys, okay? I really got into like the mode and the mood and the vibe. So this is maybe my eighth time watching this movie since I first saw it in 96. Off the bat, I noticed for the first time that it rained when they first arrived to their new home. I never noticed that before. And we know Sarah affects the weather with her emotions, right? So they live in SoCal, and rain there isn't such a thing as it is in like cooler climates. She's unconsciously attracting unstable energy to her because she's unstable. She's still processing the death of her mother, and they've moved to this new place. And also, she's the new girl, right? So it's a lot. Sarah's human. She wants to assimilate as quickly as possible. She also understands that assimilation lends itself to healing and moving on, which is something she's invested in. There's a smugness about this film. I should say, I said smugness. I mean, like, it's like a smudge. That's what I call this vibe, a smudge about this film. It's like it's been charmed or anointed, and I never noticed that before. How can I explain this? Like some people who have psychic abilities or are very empathy, they have like this smokiness or smudgeness to their auras, and this I never noticed this before, but this movie has that effect. I don't know who blessed it, but they did a good job. Somebody blessed or anointed this movie. It feels like it's a like gypsy type of vibe in nature. I never picked up on that before either. Okay. So, um, your pain body can become demonic if you don't deal with it. Cleanse your auras, girls. Seriously. So this was something else that was definitely explored in this movie with Nancy and not Drew. Bless her heart. That poor baby was going through, honey. She needed to cleanse her aura. That's what that was about. So I also wanted to touch on their deity in this movie, which was Manal. And Manal is straight up energetics. Here's the thing about energy, it resonates with you, you resonate with it. So when Nancy invoked the spirit, look what happened. She was already turned into or tuned into a particular frequency. So the energetics just empowered that frequency. There is no good or bad, only intention. Period. Here's the thing, as much as we like to demonize the darkness, it has a function. Its function is to bring you to the light. Not saying that it's pretty, but it is what it is. It's important to understand. People procrastinate when it comes to wellness, health, and consciousness because they don't want to deal with the darkness. But once you do, you become a much better you. It takes work, but it's totally worth it. Pardon me, y'all. I had to cough. So Sarah was blind, but then she could see, and then she was seeing a little too much, so she had to really reel it in, right? And this happens too. This is also scary when you're dealing with this stuff. When you start to see more and feel more and experience more, that's scary. So it was just overall, I had a great time rewatching it for the 50th time. But those were the things that I got from it this time that I honestly never did before because I'm a different person than I was even a year ago, and I was doing this from a different perspective. So that was for the OG craft. Now let's get into the preview reaction for the new craft. All right. I got so excited, okay? I knew my cable bill was about to be higher than normal because I was definitely about to watch this on demand. Child, I was ready. Where's my $20, honey? I know that they're not to the original with the whole weirdos bit. Y'all know that from the original one. We are the weirdos, mister, right? Yes. And was instantly here for it. Sometimes you just love a movie because of the branding and nostalgia. And I figured even if this turned out to be trash, I was still gonna like it. It didn't matter. I was still gonna rock it, right? I was still gonna stand for it. So I mean, I just came in with that perspective. Like I don't care. I don't even care. I'm just so happy that they're doing this, that they're acknowledging the greatness of this cult classic. I was here for it. So, um, let's get into what we have going on. We have, um, I mean, to be honest with you, like the S is deep. They remixed it, but paid homage to the OG. The ending, okay? I mean, they made sure to write this for the fans. That's my general like overview reaction. Um, I'm gonna get into my likes. I'm not gonna give away like too much of what happens. I'm honestly not even gonna go into context. You watch it. If you're a fan, watch it. If you're not and you're interested, I just think it's just a good, pleasurable kind of like escapism type of vibe. Get into it. They did a good job, and this is from somebody who has watched this literally maybe 9 times now. Like they did a great job. So what I liked was the feminine power. Okay, we have the stand, which was all about that, and I guess the original stand was more about karma itself, right? Um, you shouldn't run from your power. Your difference is your power. That came up. Yes, energy work kit. I love that. Okay, I love the energy work kit that they had in the movie, and I actually had a friend who's also a witch, and she has one, and she keeps hers in like this it's like a travel pack, you know, where you put your toiletries, a folding toiletries bag. She has all her stuff in there, like organized. I'm like, girl. So I was here for that when I saw it in the movie. I was like, oh my God, they have their own little kid. It was so cute. And then um, a take on upgraded masculine consciousness. That was interesting. Like, you know, obviously things have changed since 96. Where we're at in terms of consciousness has definitely changed. Like we were not on this level. So it was really interesting to see the integration of those concepts into this adaptation and this reboot of the original. Also, actual insight into why Timmy's a douche, right? That was actually enlightening. Like kids in their pain bodies, you know? I mean, adults in their pain bodies too. People generally act like asses because of their pain bodies. They need to address stuff, whether they're conscious of it or not. And it can take, you know, it helps to know what's going on with somebody because then you don't react as harshly to them when you know. And sometimes when you're an empath, you be knowing what's going on with people and they don't even be knowing. That's the thing about it. So it can take some patience, you know, sometimes. But it was interesting to see like what was going on with him in the background. You know, why was he being such a douche? So we got to see that. And that was interesting. They also had a little sex magic. Yes, they took it there. They took it there. I was like, okay, writers, okay. Um, and oh, I guess I should say who Timmy is, right? So Timmy is kind of like the typical male douchebag who does not respect or appreciate women. Just like what was it, Chris in the original one? I think his name was Chris. So that's the new Chris, all right? Just as an FYI. So what I didn't like. Yeah, I had. So this is definitely a film about feminine consciousness and empowerment, but we're still putting all this energy into an effing boy. We really need to do some reprogramming here. Like we're going through all of this again for some vitamin D. Number one, I am pro vitamin D. Don't get me wrong, but I am not too, I'm just tired of like the come on, like can we do something else? Can we rewrite this? So that it was just really interesting to see how elevated things were, and yet we were still doing this. I'm just like, this is almost the same thing. Like, we're still running the script. Are you serious? So that was interesting as well, to see the script still wrapped up in all this new stuff. Old script wrapped in new packaging, like pretty fancy new packaging. That was interesting, and I felt the way about it. I was just like, how is this? How is this in line with this whole female empowerment thing? Like, how is it in line? So that was interesting. And then also, I had wrote or noted concern about gaining abilities without elevating one's consciousness. Because this came up even in the original one. It's just like, okay, it's one thing to get these abilities, but if your consciousness is not on level, then what do? You go out and you hurt people, you hurt yourself, you create negative karma, like, and it just becomes a mess. And sometimes with movies about magic, I feel like sometimes they miss the mark on this concept, right? It's not just about gaining the abilities. Like, you need to elevate your thinking, your perspective. You need to do your own healing work, your own energy work, to make sure that you're not out here, hurting people, hurting yourself. And like, you could really cause some damage with this stuff. You really can, depending on your perspective and your consciousness. It is so important to be aware of that. So, um, I just wanted to touch on that as well, because I felt like, I know the writers are where they are in terms of collective consciousness, but I do hope to see that depicted and portrayed and discussed in other upcoming films about magic and witches and things like this, because it's important. I know that for a lot of people, this is not real. This is just fantasy. But for somebody who does practice, like, it's just something to take into consideration. So that was that. Um, so the thing that I'm getting most of all from the remake is, or the new, I should say, it's not exactly a remake, but the new is that the definite elevation of consciousness and mindfulness between the OG and the new, like, it's apparent. We have levels, we have layers. I mean, they took it to a whole new place. They did it, and it was just enough. It wasn't like so far off the original beaten path, but it was just enough to bring it up to date. And I was just like, okay, hand clap. I'm here for it. Overall, like I said, I enjoyed it. Put a ribbon, put a bow on it. I can't wait for this to come on on HBO, Showtime, Cinemax, whoever's gonna pick it up, because I know I'm gonna be rewatching again, both the new, and the classic, and I enjoyed it. So that's a real quick little empath POV OG Stan reaction to both The Craft from '96 and 2020's The Craft. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're a fan, tell me which character is your favorite. Who you rooting for? Nancy crazy, but Nancy's a bad, right? So who are you rooting for? Let me know in the comments. Click like, subscribe, and I will definitely see you guys for the next video. Thank you so much again. Bye.